Good afternoon, and welcome to Midday Meditation, sponsored by Creative Living Fellowship, a religious science center here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. We're so glad you joined us today to take a bit of a rest from your day and to get centered. So I'd like for you to do whatever you need to do to get completely focused and let go of everything before this moment and everything you plan to do later on. You're going to hear the ancient sound of the Om chant, and then a bit of silence, my voice where I will guide you in a meditation, and more silence. So please, whatever you need to do to get, and join us as we have midday meditation. And by the way, my name is Dhamana Shauri, and I'm an outreach practitioner here at Creative Living Fellowship. Very honored to guide you in this meditation. Thank you for joining us. And as we release the sound of the chant, let's take a deep breath in and out. And today we're going to talk about change, which other than spirit is life's only constant. We can count on change every day from minute to minute. And even so, change is difficult for many of us. And there are some changes that are difficult for all of us. But change is very necessary. And we know it's a given. If you're alive, you will experience change. Change for you, change through you. So let's look at a child to take some of the mystery and stigma off of change. When they're born, they're pretty expressionless, and they go on to have a toothless grin, and later on teeth come, and they begin to babble, and eventually make sounds, and they go on to have words and complete sentences. Now, at no point in your child's development did you say, "Oh, I wish they didn't smile anymore. I wish she or he had the same little face they had right after birth," which was pretty expressionless. Or, "I wish they didn't get down on the floor and crawl and get into things. I wish they just sat there and kind of fell over occasionally. I wish they didn't talk. I wish they didn't have words or language. I kind of like that baby talk. I was familiar with it." No, no one ever said those things, because you know that a child evolves. Their development is necessary for human life. And we encourage those changes. So those changes are very easy to accept. So let us broaden our acceptance to include other changes. Let's look at the seasons. Unless you're at extremes in locations on the planet, you have seasons. Spring, the weather begins to get milder. The birds come back. Trees bud, flowers grow. And as we pass through summer, temperatures heat up. And in the fall, leaves begin to turn. Trees lose their leaves. Moving into winter, depending on where you live, there's snow on the ground and ice on your windshield when you go out to start your car. Many of those changes are not changes we think are pleasant, but depending on where you live, you may have to suffer through them. And suffering through them is not our most uplifted experience. So how about we just accept and embrace them? You may not like the rain, but it's necessary. Just imagine what our planet would be like with no rain. Now, snow, that's a bit of a different subject. I think many of us could do completely without snow ever, but it's here. And if we live in a climate where it's present, we have to accept it, make the best of it. Looking at relationships, relationships change continuously. All relationships, relationships with parents, with children, with siblings, other relatives, classmates, neighbors, coworkers. Very few people have lifelong relationships. It's a blessing when that happens, but it's not typical. Most relationships in our lives will change, will shift. Some even end. I don't think relationships ever end. They change. You may not have contact with that person, but there are things that bind you to them that really do constitute a relationship. And one of life's lessons is to learn when to let go of a relationship that no longer serves you, that is painful, that is difficult, and there's no growth there. We must give ourselves permission for that change. That change comes out of self-love, out of self-respect. And that's a change we can embrace, knowing that we're doing something for ourselves. So all of these changes happen, and it's to our advantage to learn to go with the change, to help guide and direct the change, to see what lesson there is in a particular change, whether it's moving, beginning or ending a relationship, buying a car, making a decision to travel, having a baby, sending a child off to college. All of those are changes that life brings us all the time. And so it's really to our advantage to see the lesson in the change, direct it however we can so that it's to our full advantage, and accept it, knowing that when change stops, life stops. Anything that is alive, whether it's human, four-legged animal, or things that grow in the fields, all experience change. So let's learn to go with the change and not look at it with dread or regret. Instead of, I have to fill in the blank. Let's move to, ooh, I get to fill in the blank. Change. 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 So here's another opportunity for change. So I'd like you to come back to the sights and sounds around you and embrace all of the change that's going to come your way today, and see if there's a way you can approach it with an uplifted thought, looking for the lesson, because it's definitely there. Thank you for joining us for today's midday meditation at Creative Living Fellowship. We hope this has given you a boost of the spirit within to carry you through your day. Have a wonderful day and come back and join us again.